This footage was classified for over 70 years, hidden behind government walls and buried beneath decades of lies. This is the terrifying truth about World War II's secret bioweapon experiments. What if I told you your government, and several others, were conducting horrifying experiments during World War II, not to save lives, but to unleash diseases on millions? Watch until the end. You won't believe what was uncovered. While the world focused on bullets and bombs, secret labs in Japan, the US, and Germany raced to weaponize something far deadlier: disease. In 1932, Japan's infamous Unit 731 began testing plague, cholera, and anthrax, not in test tubes, but on human prisoners. They didn't just test the bacteria, they dropped plague-infected fleas on Chinese villages. People died in agony, and Tokyo documented it like lab results.
就是细菌移植，你们要努力学习，尽快掌握技术。
参谋本部只认识到细菌武器对这场战争的重要，却不知道生物化学武器对今后大日本帝国的前途。
Across the Pacific, the US was doing its own bioweapon research at Fort Detrick, Maryland.
Here, men and women of science are doing basically the same type of work as in other government, university, and industrial laboratories. A combination of medical and public health research. While I was at Fort Detrick, I was able to follow partway through an experiment to determine the effectiveness of an agent. For many years, information has been needed on the effect of a biological warfare attack on man. The volunteers were a picked group. They had received psychiatric interviews to determine their maturity and reliability, as well as mental outlook. Medical histories and laboratory checks on the volunteers had been extremely stringent. Any history of a chronic disease, any allergic reaction or nervous disorder.
In a top-secret program called Operation Whitecoat, the US military tested Q fever and tularemia on its own soldiers. Voluntarily, at least that's what they claimed. Scientists even developed bombs designed to burst mid-air and spread disease particles over enemy troops, and maybe civilians too. The Nazis had their own secret biological weapon program, much of it lost or destroyed in 1945, but what we do know is chilling. Evidence suggests Hitler's inner circle explored infecting Allied cities with typhus and using lice as carriers. And when the Allies advanced, the Germans destroyed most of the evidence, but not before some of it fell into Soviet hands. And this is where it gets darker. Because this information didn't just disappear, it was traded, like currency, in a global arms race. After the war, instead of prosecuting Nazi and Japanese scientists for war crimes, the US hired them.
Kaltenbrunner and 21 others were subject to the trials, and following Nuremberg, it marked the beginning of the rebuilding of Germany and signalled the end of the Nazis in a sense.
That is complete the answer to which he says he did not complete in cross-examination.
家庭のもとにおいて、条件ということを私は使います。その条件をお話ししましょう。
Upon the issue of the Potsdam Declaration, it was stated in July 1945 that all war criminals will be tried and stern justice imposed upon them. The terms of reference for the war crimes trial was set out and issued in January 1946. There was a disagreement initially between the countries about who should try the defendants and how they should do it. General Douglas MacArthur, the Supreme Commander of the Allied powers, intervened and decided to initiate the arrests, ordering the detainment of 39 suspects, most of them members of the former Prime Minister of Japan.
That's right. Men who oversaw deadly human experimentation were given new identities and jobs in American research labs. The same labs that once tested diseases on innocent people were now funded by governments who wanted an edge in the Cold War. Here's the part no one talks about. Documents show that between 1945 and the 1970s, these programs continued, quietly and possibly on domestic populations.
Alone, they kept the resistance to Japanese imperialism alive. While they were still negotiating, their countrymen struck a savage blow unparalleled in infamy.
1950, U.S. Navy sprays San Francisco with bacteria to simulate attack. And these tests, they may have caused real illness, but were only revealed decades later through Freedom of Information requests. If this is what they admit now, what else is still classified? This isn't just history, this is a warning. Technology, fear, and secrecy, when combined, can be more dangerous than any battlefield. If you found this video eye-opening, smash that like button, subscribe for more hidden history, and share this with someone who thinks they know the full story of World War II.